Accelerator was ranked first among the 7 level 5 Aspers in the academy, and his ability includes controlling all vectors, like momentum, heat, and electricity. At one time he took part in a project level 6 shift, but as a result of that, he got shot in the head while protecting Last Order, and now has to rely on a piece of device just to be able to talk and walk properly. One day, a trio of thieves steals a powerful weapon from a secret facility and is heading straight to the hospital where Accelerator is staying in order to kill him, since he is injured right now. The anti-skill squad also arrives at the hospital in order to protect Accelerator. The captain meets her sick friend, Yoshikawa, and informs her that early this morning, a research lab in School District 4 was hit by thieves. Apparently, it's a facility that researches air, but behind the scenes they were developing a secret weapon that is made specifically for use to kill Accelerator. But it got stolen by the thieves, who are now heading straight to the hospital. The thieves start testing the weapon in the parking lot, and seeing its result, they enter straight inside the hospital with full confidence, thinking they can finally kill Accelerator. Anti-skill intercepts them, demanding that they surrender. However, the crazy bitch who was wielding the weapon starts attacking them, and their shield was no match against it. They rain bullets on her, but the weapon easily protects her, and realizing this, the captain orders her men to retreat. Meanwhile, Accelerator just ignores all the commotion and just reads his favorite manga, One Piece. The purple-hair lady, named Yoshikawa, however, comes to his room, telling him there is an emergency where the thieves have stolen a secret weapon, and they are here to kill him. She tells him that he needs to escape to the shelter, but realizing his power, she tells him he will probably be okay. But sadly the whole hospital will be turned upside down. Hearing this last order, she gets worried, saying that the kitchen will be destroyed as well. She rushes to the kitchen to move her secret surprise to safety. Yoshikawa goes after her and tells Accelerator that he needs to get out of here. Last Order packs all the cookies that she had baked for Accelerator. After all, she made this as a surprise to celebrate his recovery. The woman tells her that they should take her gift to the shelter since Accelerator might probably be already there. But Last Order gets worried since she knows what type of person he is. The weaponized girl keeps on pushing ahead, totally overpowering anti-skill. But seeing that a boy beside her is reloading the weapon, the soldier realizes that the boy is probably carrying the magazines for the weapon. That's why he makes a plan that if they take him out and make the girl use up her ammo, then they will have a chance. Then the other soldier informs the captain that he managed to acquire their data and learn that these thieves are just high school students. Knowing this, the captain puts her gun back and tries to attack the boy with her baton, but thanks to the ability of the four-eyed girl, she couldn't breathe as she got close and she almost gets killed. But thankfully the boy slaps her right back to her original position, and he tells the weaponized girl, no killing. Anti-skill tries to fall back, but seeing the kids behind them, they have no choice but to fight. As these thugs approaches them with a smug look, they dash towards them to land a strike, but suddenly the boy pulls the weaponized girl back, saving her life from Accelerator's ability. But he gets knocked out in the process. He gets mad at them for making a commotion right next to his room while he is reading. Seeing him, the girl gets excited and starts squirting at him with the chill beams of the weapon. But he easily changes its trajectory, making the girl more excited seeing his power. Just then, Last Order comes out of nowhere carrying her gift, saying that she was worried and she knew that he would probably still be in the hospital. But as she comes near him, she trips and the ceiling starts collapsing. Somehow Accelerator makes it on time to save her, but, as always, gets injured again, and his blood drops on the gift. Seeing this, the weaponized girl takes the gift, saying she finally got his blood. After all, they came here to gather his genetic material. She uses smoke bombs to escape and leaves behind their partner. As they disappear, Accelerator asks Last Order what was in the bag. She tells him not to worry about it since she is more worried about his injuries. But he just ignores her and tries to go after them. However, Yoshikawa stops him, saying that she will take him by her car. After all, he needs to preserve the battery for his device as much as he can in order for him to be able to fight. But in the end he has no choice but to agree. As they sit in the car, she tells him that he really cares about that girl, but he just pretends, saying that all he wants to do is get back at those punks for messing with him. She just smiles at him, getting him angry, and he tells her that they should go underground to search for those punks because he knows they will try to avoid any satellite surveillance. At the School District 7 underground drainage channel, the entrance has been destroyed by the punks, but like always, Accelerator knows his way. At the same time, Four Eyes tells the girl that she is worried about Hyro, the one they left behind. But the weaponized girl tells her not to worry because once they sell Accelerator's blood to the right lab, they will become billionaires and they can't think of some backdoor way to rescue Hyro. But first they need to make a clean getaway. That's why she is planting bombs to destroy the underground tunnel so that their pursuers won't be able to find them. Just then, Accelerator calls out to them, surprising her, and she immediately detonates her bombs to kill him. As the destruction ensues, she laughs maniacally, thinking she finally killed the #1 Esper in the world, but gets shocked when he comes out unharmed. He grabs her by the collar and starts explaining that he already knows about her weapon. Her little toy is actually an ultra-high-pressure water cutter, which uses the melting of solid nitrogen. He throws her to the corner using his ability, saying, did they really think that they could beat him with such a trinket? He further explains to her that he knows they are not affected by the deprived oxygen because of 4 eyes, as she has the ability to control the concentration of gases in the air. He uses his ability to get back the gift from her and tells them that now they are done for since he has revealed all their tricks. The girl gets annoyed, so she starts using the full power of the weapon. But Accelerator easily dispels it and kicks the shit out of her. 4 Eyes tries to stop him, saying she won't allow him to kill her. Seeing his ugly face, she starts trembling, leaking some 4 Eyes juice, but he just flicks her head and leaves, saying that if she is that important to her, she should have stopped her before she did all of this. Later, as he returns back to the hospital, he returns the gift to Last Order, which makes her really happy, thanking him and saying she is full of gratitude. Accelerator asks what is inside the gift. She tells him to open it. As he opens it, he gets surprised seeing the cookies with a letter that says we are just getting started. She tells him that there is lots of party left to celebrate his recovery, but Accelerators just tells her it's all rubbish and leaves, while Last Order tries to persuade him to stay for the party. Elsewhere in School District 7, Bridge 3, a girl jumps down the bridge to hug the water. Later, as she regains her consciousness, she gets angry that she has not been Ice Guy yet. She looks around and sees 3 men who were talking about her, explaining that she is a level 2 pyrokinesis. They talk to each other, saying that her ability is suited for combat. But realizing that she didn't die and has regained consciousness, they called her a criminal for trying to unalive herself. They start drowning her using the same water from the river, stating that no evidence will be there for them killing her, since they will report that they tried to resuscitate her, but it was no use since she had already died from drowning. As she slowly dies, they tell her not to worry because they will make good use of her body to serve the cause of justice, calling it Dawes Dogma. After some time, these bastards are hunting another girl that has the ability to control the dead. The girl ends up escaping to the hospital where Accelerator is staying. They try to pursue her but realize that area has been designated as off-limits, but they get an order to continue the mission, and they just need to make sure not to bring any harm to the patients in the hospital. At the same time, the girl tries to find a corpse she has been searching for, but doesn't find it anywhere in the hospital. As the girl tries to escape from the pursuing Dawes, she ends up in Accelerator's room. She tells him it's an emergency and shows him a picture of an experimented girl, asking him if he knows where this girl is. But before he could answer, the DA intercepted her, and they immediately knocked her out using a stun gun, and she dropped the photo to the ground. The soldier lies to Accelerator, saying they are from the anti-skill, and they have caught a criminal that has snuck into the hospital. But Accelerator just completely ignores him. As they leave, he gets up and sees the photo that the girl has dropped. At the same time, as the girl regains consciousness, she sees the soldier who tells her that she really did a number on them earlier. The girl soldier beside him advises that although they were told not to kill her, they should correct a foolish child with a punishment. The soldier starts choking her while she tries to scream in pain but couldn't. But as they try to leave the hospital, they see that Accelerator is blocking their way. They tell him to move out of the way, but with menacing eyes, Accelerator tells the soldier that he needs to ask something from the girl and they should leave her here. Not knowing his identity, the soldier points a gun at him and refuses, stating a civilian like him should not interfere with anti-skill. But he tells him that he knows they are not from anti-skill because they would never point a gun at an unarmed civilian like him. The soldier finally admits the truth, saying that anti-skill is just a fake upholder of justice because members like him of the Dawes are the real upholders of justice. He orders Accelerator to move out of the way, but he just smirks and taunts him to make him move. The soldier gets furious, and he starts shooting at him, but Accelerator just changes the trajectory of the bullets, and they end up hitting him, but thanks to his helmet, his life gets saved with only mild bleeding. Realizing he is in a spur, the soldier orders his men to ram him with the truck, But obviously it does nothing as Accelerator simply uses his power to throw the truck in the air. The soldier gets really shocked in seeing this since he has never seen anyone this powerful. Accelerator warns him to get out because he is still feeling generous, otherwise he will crush him. But the soldier refuses to give up and starts activating a weapon, saying, "Let me show you what absolute justice looks like." The weapon is called Coffin, and the Necromancer girl sees this, and she gets terrified, realizing that Hishigata has succeeded in affixing the soul. As the weapon activates, Accelerator just laughs at it since he knows he can easily take it down. Coffin starts attacking him with blue flames, but of course it doesn't affect him since he can control heat as well. But Accelerator realizes that someone is probably inside the weapon. The soldier praises him for deflecting the first strike, but he starts yapping, saying he will not escape this upcoming powerful attack. But Accelerator starts laughing more crazily than him and taunts him to give it his best shot, which scares the shit out of the soldier. He immediately releases the limit on the weapon, and it attacks him with powerful blue flames whose heat is almost similar to the sun. But it only destroys the surroundings, leaving Accelerator unharmed while he laughs maniacally at him. The Necromancer girl gets really creeped out by his laugh, but is really impressed with his strength. Accelerator starts attacking Coffin using its own flame against it, and with a single touch he completely shuts it down. Seeing this, the soldier tries to get away, but as Accelerator tried to chase after him, a girl suddenly comes out of the coffin, which freezes Accelerator in one place as he remembers the experiment he went through. Antiskill finally arrives at the scene, and Accelerator informs the lady captain that there are some groups that are pretending to be them who call themselves Da, and he also informs her that the girl that was inside the coffin was already dead 2 days ago, but they somehow preserved her and used her inside the weapon for her pyrokinetic power. Her soldier confirms this by revealing the identity of the girl who committed suicide by jumping into a river 3 days ago. The captain gets really confused, wondering how are they able to do that to use a person's ability when they are already dead. But Accelerator just tells them that it's their job to find out as he leaves. At the same time, the escaped soldier gives his report to the headquarters, saying that the coffin was completely useless. However, Hishigata, who was also in the virtual meeting, tells him that he already warned him that it was just a prototype. But he argues, saying he told him that even if it's just a prototype, it had the power of a level 4 Esper. But Hishigata replies that the weapon got destroyed because he was pretty unlucky, or he was taking on a level 5 opponent. However, the other members say that it doesn't matter since they already secured their objective. With that, Hishigata proposes that they first need to get the Necromancer girl to Dachshund because without her, they can't move the water recycle experiment to the next step. But the soldier gets terrified upon hearing this, revealing that the girl got away. They get really disappointed at him, but he argues, saying that it was not his fault. They decide to cut him off by unaliving him since he has no use to them anymore, and they order Hishigata to deal with it in finding the girl. And a cute girl named Hermie hugs him. As Accelerator returns to his room, he sees the Necromancer girl, who was waiting for him, and she introduces herself as Esther, thanking him for saving her life. Without any shame, she demands that since he has power, it is his duty to help her. This irritates Accelerator, so he chokes her using his ability. But she starts telling him to do it more, and that she knows he is not a bad person since she can tell from his eyes. Accelerator gets more irritated, saying he will show her how evil he can be. But Esther just accepts her fate, saying he can kill her, but in return he must do something with his power since the whole world is at risk. And she finally reveals that they are trying to use the Last Order and shift the world into a new level. Hearing about the Last Order, he immediately releases her and asks her to reveal the location of those phony anti-skill guys, because whatever it is they are after, all he has to do is go there and smash it. She tells him all she knows is the warehouse where they were locked, and there are probably several warehouses like that. But he tells her to simply lead the way, and he will show her how evil he can be. As Esther sits behind the bike with Accelerator riding it, she remembers the past, how she was locked up in the warehouse where Hishigata did his experiments on her. They finally reach the warehouse, and as always, without a plan, Accelerator goes inside by destroying and making his own entrance. Inside they see the soldier and the truck that has already been disposed of. But as they search around, they accidentally find another coffin, but it's heavily modified from the previous one, and Esther realizes that it's Kyonkai. Esther starts panicking, but Hishigata starts talking to her via the coffin, saying that her timing is perfect because Kyonkai has finally been completed since he wanted her to see it more than anyone. He thanks her for teaching everything there is to know about animating dead bodies, and Esther realizes that Taudi and Hundun are probably already dead. Hishigata gladly agrees, saying he has finally managed to turn them into his weapons, even though it did take many dead bodies to amass this many souls. Esther begs him that he has to stop, but he simply tells her that she manipulated the dead at her whim too, meaning from the view of the dead body, they still end up being used to serve the pleasure of the living. That's why she is no different from him. Esther drops down on her knees, and she starts crying, begging him to stop. However, Accelerator isn't concerned about all this shit and tries to attack him, but Hishigata tells him that there is no point in fighting him right now, so he decides to retreat. But Accelerator immediately attacks him with his ability, but this time the coffin immediately deflects his attacks, and Hishigata informs him they have all the data about him, saying the object of his vector is whatever he touches, meaning if he keeps his distance, he will be okay. Accelerator strikes him again with his ability, but the coffin uses psychokinesis to deflect it, and he tells Accelerator that having a level 5 power is truly something. Accelerator is surprised to hear that the coffin is level 5, but Hishigata just ignores him and simply retreats. As Esther lays there, she tells Accelerator that Hishigata is right. She is the same as him since she has been using the dead for her needs, but Accelerator doesn't give a shit and releases her from her chains, saying that it doesn't matter. All she needs to do is stop him. The next morning, as Last Order comes to his room to hand Accelerator his brunch, she gets really shocked and jealous seeing that he is hanging out with another girl beside her. She immediately asks her, who might she be? And she awkwardly introduces herself to her, lying that she is Accelerator's classmate and has come here to ask him for some help. But Last Order senses something, and she tells them that she knows that they are hiding something from her, and she starts throwing the lunchboxes at Accelerator, saying that he is timing her. This makes Accelerator angry for wasting his lunch since he is hungry, so Last Order hides behind Esther, and she tells him that they could go to a restaurant to eat, and she will give him the chance to apologize for his infidelity. Accelerator accepts, which makes Last Order very happy while Esther is confused, seeing that he can control his anger when Last Order is involved. But seeing Last Order being happy for a simple thing, she cannot believe that she is someone who has experienced death over 1,000 times since she knows about Last Order. At the same time as the doctor performs a postmortem on the dead girl, he finds a paper inside her mouth with strange markings. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, Esther is really excited to see all the dishes on the menu since she has never experienced this before. Seeing her excitement, Last Order also gets excited, and as she eats the food when the order finally comes, she starts crying, saying she has never had anything as wonderful as this around her, because she gets to enjoy good food with good company at the same time. But Accelerator gets tired from all this emotional nonsense, and he heads out to make a call. Outside he knows that these Da are up to no good and he needs information about them. So he calls Yoshikawa, asking her if she knows anything about the Das. She tells him she has no idea, however, she can check into them. Later, as he goes back to his room, he ends up seeing Esther in her underwear, who is currently changing. This makes Last Order mad as she tells him that it's good manners to knock even if it's his own room. However, this doesn't bother Esther at all, as she is used to it. But it gets Last Order more mad since she is worried that she might end up seducing Accelerator. And she tells her that she should have some shame because they are called feminine sensibilities, and she needs to show some modesty. Just then, the doctor comes into the room at the right on time to see Esther half naked, but he pretends not to see anything and tells the Last Order that it's her time for a checkup. Hearing this, Last Order enthusiastically head to the doctor's room. The doctor also informs Accelerator about the dead girl, saying that there was nothing he could do for her since it was already 3 days since her death. However, he shows the weird paper with markings he found to Accelerator, and Esther immediately recognizes it. With that, the both of them head to the morgue room. Esther opens the cover of the corpse and reveals that her family created a kind of necromancy where they can transplant a false soul into a dead body and freely control it. But what they have here isn't a dead body, it's a person. She taught Hishigata how to do necromancy without understanding the difference between a dead and a living body. That's why it's her fault the girl ended up like this. Her family has warned her against carelessly teaching others how to do it, and this is the outcome of her stupidity. She takes out a talisman, saying that the conduit is still open and she can use it to gather information. She also informs him that if the vessel is left neglected, the girl will be unable to pass through Heaven's Gate. That's why she is going to restart the girl, and she will reaffix a false soul that she created into her, and then finally she will close her spiritual conduit, allowing the girl to pass through Heaven's Gate. Just then, a holographic image of a brain pops out, but as Accelerator touches it, he sees the past memories of the girl, seeing her mother, seeing how she decides to unlive herself as she jumps from the bridge, and finally seeing how she actually died when those bastards killed her. As he comes back to his senses, he gets pushed back to the corner. Esther informs him that what he just did was very dangerous because touching a residual thought can hamper his brain. She reveals to him that as a necromancer, she uses these residual thoughts as a key code to let them slip a pseudo-soul into the body. After successfully implanting a false soul into the girl, she finally closes her conduit. However, Accelerator becomes extremely angry with those bastards, accusing them of going to extreme lengths to obtain bodies. Immediately thereafter, two suspicious individuals enter the morgue, informing them that this is not a place suitable for children. However, Accelerator has already spotted an unusual flask that one of the men was carrying. As he leaves, he steals the bottle without them realizing, and as the men try to dispose of the body using the chemicals in the flask, they panic since it got lost. Just then, Accelerator comes back, showing them the flask, which surprises them. He opens it and throws the chemical towards them, but somehow they were able to dodge. The men get really irritated and start taking out their weapons, stating it's time to bring some justice. Just then, the dead girl comes back to life, and she starts saying that her Hyodo is activating. She starts scanning, saying that there is danger to Adonai, referring to Accelerator and Esther. And she starts taking action to purge the danger, implying the two strange men. She starts attacking one of the men, while the other gets scared seeing her strength, saying, "How is she still alive since they already gave her justice?" He starts shooting at her, calling her a monster, but Accelerator easily stops the bullet, saying he is the real monster. With crazy eyes, Accelerator tells the man that he is done for now since he is really in a bad mood after learning the truth on how they killed the girl. Accelerator immediately grabs the man by the face and pushes him to the corner as hard as he can. He starts torturing the man using his abilities, but the man couldn't bear the pain, and he lost consciousness. He turns toward the other man, but as he tries to use his ability, he gets dizzy with blurry vision, and suddenly he drops to his knees with blood coming out of his previous wound again. Seeing this chance, the man runs away, but the dead girl tries to stop him, so the man destroys the ceiling on top of Esther, making the dead girl abandon him and saving Esther and Accelerator's lives. The man runs away, and Esther gets worried for Accelerator, but the dead girl tells her not to worry since his life is not in danger. She asks Esther if she should pursue the man, but Esther tells her no, saying she can't leave Accelerator behind, and she blushes, saying he is her essential one, calling him her teacher. Outside, as the man is trying to escape, he almost runs over a disabled girl, but gets stopped by Misaka's clone, who warns him that kind of violence cannot be tolerated. The man tries to punch Misaka, but she dodges, and using her ability, she tries to electrocute him, but it doesn't work since he is wearing a special suit. The man immediately grabs her using the mechanical arms, so she tries to hack the arms, but just then, the dead girl makes her appearance with Esther. At the same time, his backup also comes with a car telling him to hurry up and get in, so using his mechanical arm, he smacks Misaka unconscious and takes her as his hostage. The dead girl tries to pursue them, but Esther stops her again, saying they need to come up with a better plan to deal with them. Elsewhere, the doctor begins his operation to close Accelerator wounds again. But inside a subway train that runs forever and doesn't stop at any station, a man called Breeder receives a call from Hishigata telling him that he believes that right at this moment he is passing under School District 17. He starts taunting him, saying, "Imagine if one of the Academy City's top leaders is on a train that runs all the time. Is he that afraid to allow his location to be made known?" He just ignores him, saying that from now onwards he will call him Hishigata instead of Dachshund, and he should call him Nakamoto as well. He agrees and tells him that he is irritated with Da's action. His plan cannot go forward because they keep on failing, so he wants him to improve the situation. The man cuts the call, and he decides to cut off Da as well since they are of no use to him anymore. He comments that this will be a good opportunity to put the scavenger to the test to kill all of them. The crazy scientist gets the order to release the scavengers, and she gets really excited. The scavengers get activated, and all four of them gather as the scientist tells them that it's time for work. Elsewhere, Accelerator sees himself all bloodied up from the experiment, but he wakes up panicking, realizing that it is just a dream. He wonders where Esther is, thinking that she probably went after the man, but he hopes that she has not forgotten that she is being chased as well by the Da. Just then, Last Order wakes up from her sleep, and she is really happy that he is okay because she was really worried about him. As her crying stops, she asks him if he wants to eat something. At first he tells her no, but realizing that there is someone nearby, he tells her to get him a can of black coffee. As she leaves, he asks the other clone of Misaka what she wants. She hands him a letter and tells him that it is from Esther. The letter informs him that Esther is going to retrieve some civilian who was kidnapped. But Misaka's clone informs him that the civilian who was kidnapped is actually Misaka's clone number 1046. Just then he receives a call from Yoshikawa, who tells him that she has found out about DA. DA is an abbreviation for disciplinary action. They are kind of like a mutual aid society within Antiskill. At least that's what they publicly claim to be. But in reality, they are a secret society, and a fairly nasty one at that. They will resort to anything to bring about what they call their justice. But the main problem is they have a lot of sympathizers. DA has grown with the help of members and former members of Antiskill who have the same ideals, and they provide them with lots of information, funding, and tech. When evil spreads, it incites even more powerful evil. In DA's case, that includes powerful rejected firms and a dangerous neuroscientist. But right now, one of the bigwigs who had been showering favor on DA must have thought that DA's extreme actions were becoming a nuisance, and apparently they just started taking action to have them purged. As a result, there is a whole lot of danger looming around Da right now. That's why she warns him to be careful if he is planning to get involved in this matter. Accelerator tells her none of that matters to him because all he has to do is just kill all the bad guys anyways. At the same time, the dead girl and Esther try to track down the man while the DA supporters have another meeting, saying that Nakamoto has done so much for their cause, but apparently he can no longer understand their lofty ideas. Hishigata, however, just listens to their yapping about how they will purge everything for the cause of their justice. But just then, Hishigata notices the clone on the screen, and he informs the members that the idiot who ran out in the middle of his mission brought a hostage back to the base. He demands that he wants her, asking if they would mind if he takes her. They don't have any problems, but they ask him for what purpose does he need her, but Hishigata just replies that it's for the sake of justice, of course. Elsewhere, the captain of Antiskill did some research about the Dawn. Da is a nest of terrorists, and they are extremely dangerous, having more funds and equipment that are superior to Antiskill. She wonders why none of this came out before. As she sees all the information about the members of the DAs, she gets really shocked because most of them are from Antiskill that were dismissed due to their extreme measures of upholding justice. At the same time, an explosion occurs at a warehouse in the 3rd district, which is apparently one of the hideouts of Da, and the captain immediately goes to the site to investigate. The explosion was caused by the Scavenger as they attacked the hideout of Da. Knowing that they will be in trouble if they let even a single member of Da to escape, one of the Scavengers uses his predator ability to make creepy red eyes all over the sky to search for any survivor. Elsewhere, at the Sukanabakona Foods Supplement Factory, Antiskill plants a bomb on the thick metal door, while the other soldiers prepare to engage in combat with their shields and guns. The moment the bomb explodes, they immediately moves in along with the captain and start attacking Da's soldiers. The Das get really worried, wondering how Antiskill knows about this secret hideout. Elsewhere, Last Order finally brings the black coffee to Accelerator and she starts yapping. But he just ignores her and gets sad because as he takes out the battery from his device, he barely has the strength to even move his fingers. As he drops the battery, Last Order tells him that he should let her help with stuff like these, but without the battery he couldn't even understand what she was saying. Antiskill presses on forward, which makes Da to fall back, while Nakamoto tells himself that dogs that do not obey the hunters should be eliminated. At the same time, the Da members hold another meeting where they complain that Antiskill is attacking them, and the way things are heading, each branch will soon be neutralized by them. They decide to make a plan that they are going to inflict a devastating damage on them and force them to the negotiating table. They start calling Hishigata by his fake name, Dax, asking him about the weapon that was supposed to turn the tide of the battle. But Hishigata tells them that Esther got away from him, and getting Last Order, which serves as the core of the weapon, was another fiasco. They ask him if there isn't any way to use it in its present state. He tells them that they are in luck because if he gets his hands on one of the clone sisters of Misaka, then he can surely do something, but he asks them why they haven't sent the clone to him. They inform him that the clone hostage just arrived at Branch 1, and they will immediately send it to him, and they urge him to start getting that weapon ready. He tells them, of course, and closes the call, but it's all a lie because once he gets his hand on the clone, he will be cutting ties with them. As the fight ensues between Da and Antiskill, the Da captain receives an order to deliver the clone to the chemistry building of Seiin High School. He tries to argue, saying that it's impossible in this situation right now, but they tell him that she is a vital component of a weapon that will turn the tide of the battle. Learning this, he immediately tells his men to retreat, and they will be delivering the girl to Hishigata. Antiskill notices that Da have retreated, so they decide to go forward inside their base, saying they can't let them get out into the city. But as they enter inside the base, they see a strange-looking robot that looks like a spider. It immediately activates and starts shooting at them with its Gatling gun, killing a lot of them instantly. The captain immediately tells her squad to retreat, while the headquarters immediately orders to send reinforcement and some anti-tank guns down there immediately. And they are really surprised that Da has advanced weapons like this. But as the weapon starts attacking again, the captain notices some men trying to escape with some luggage. She immediately goes after them and jumps to the second floor with the help of her soldier. They shoot at her, but using her shield, she easily deflects all the bullets and just rams through them, throwing them to the ground floor. The captain of Da shoots at her, but it's useless as she blocks it with her shield and ends up in a standoff with their guns pointing at each other. The Antiskill are getting massacred by the weapon, but as they call for reinforcement, one of the members of the Scavengers picks up the call, saying that their backup is all dead. The weapon gets overheated and can't fire anymore, so the man inside it activates the mini-drone with sharp blades, and it cuts all the Antiskill soldiers into pieces. This scene really horrifies the captain, but just then, a paper airplane starts attacking those mini-drones, destroying them. The man inside panics, but suddenly all the paper airplanes explode, releasing a powerful shockwave that sends all the soldiers along with the captain of Antiskill and the captain of Da flying. The man inside sees the 4 Scavengers and recognizes them as Nakamoto's cleaners. The captain tells him that there is no time for a 3-way battle right now and the weapon will last only 30 minutes more, so he needs his support to complete the original operation of delivering the girl. Learning this, the man inside immediately attacks the Scavengers to distract them. But the girl in a school uniform easily stops his attacks using her ability to control the frictional coefficient. Realizing this, his captain orders him to retreat, but as he tries to escape, the girl uses her ability to control friction again, and he ends up spinning around and around until she finally releases her ability, and he ends up hitting a wall, destroying the building. The ceiling suddenly collapses from the impact, and the Da captain drops the clone and ends up getting smashed by the debris. The clone almost falls to the ground, but the captain of Antiskill tries to grab her, but the dead body of Da's captain ends up pushing the clone, making the captain lose her grip, and the clone almost falls to her death. But right on time, Esther makes her appearance as she jumps to save the clone. And thanks to the dead girl, she saves both their lives as she cushions their fall. Esther checks up on the clone and is glad that she is alright. But just then the Scavengers come up and thank her for keeping their spoil safe for them, as they are there to kill the girl as well. They start telling her that if she leaves the clone there and walks away, they are willing to let her go. But then, the captain makes her entrance as well, telling Esther that she will take care of this and they need to take the clone and get away from here. They get irritated hearing them, so they decide to kill all of them before proceeding with their mission. One of the members of the Scavengers transforms herself using her ability, telling the rest of the Scavengers that she doesn't need any help to take them out. At the same time in the hospital, Accelerator's battery is finally fully charged. But as Last Order leaves, he decides to head out into the battlefield, saying that it will help him with his rehabilitation.